Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. It's still Screamtober. Hi, I'm Carshénah with versefilmsproductions, and you don't want to miss, we're doing a video a day, every day up until Halloween. This week is horror video games and horror comics. Let's get started. Today, we're going to go over something special for all of you horror fans out there and all you video gamers. We're going to go over Castlevania. Castlevania, known in Japan as Akumajo Dracula or Akumajo Dracula, Devil's Castle Dracula, is the first game in the series of the same name. It depicts the exploits of a vampire hunter named Simon Belmont, who inherited a whip brimming with holy power from his father. Because of an ancient blood feud between Simon's ancestors and the vampire Count Dracula, it was Simon's calling to enter Dracula's castle and slay him in order to stop him from drinking all of humanity's blood. Castlevania was released in Japan in September 1986 for the Family Computer Disk System. In May 1987, it was released on cartridge for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES, in North America, and then in Europe in 1988. It was released again, this time on cartridge in Japan in 1993 for the Family Computer. Now, the characters are Simon Belmont and Count Dracula. Simon Belmont is a 22-year-old vampire hunter and a descendant of Christopher Belmont, the legendary hero who killed Count Dracula in 1591. When the family's nemesis resurrected yet again due to a black mass ritual conducted by a group of cultists, Simon takes the mysterious whip passed down to him from his father and sets out to seal away the evil vampire. Simon Belmont knew that as a member of the Belmont clan and the current wielder of the vampire killer whip, it was his duty to bring peace and stability back to Transylvania by destroying Dracula. Simon proved himself a mighty vampire hunter by withstanding the monsters and traps of Dracula's castle, and in the end, destroying Count Dracula himself. Though Simon prevailed in ridding the world of the scourge of Dracula, he was terribly wounded by Count Dracula in the process, setting the stage for Simon's quest. Dracula, the Prince of Darkness, the last time he was brought back into the world, it was completely covered in darkness, but his ambitions were crushed when Christopher Belmont set out to defeat him. Peace returned to the countryside of Transylvania for 100 years, but when exactly 1 century had passed, the power of Christ weakened and the hearts of men turned black, praying for the resurrection of Count Dracula. He rests in the castle's highest floor, awaiting the arrival of the Belmont clan. Gameplay for Castlevania consists of 6 linear stages with a boss at the end of each stage. The stages represent areas of Dracula's decrepit castle, and the enemies are typically taken from the horror literature lore and films. Castlevania is an action-adventure platformer that emphasizes precision and timing. Players begin the game with 4 lives and 5 hearts. Throughout these stages are pits and other traps that cause instant defeat. Many enemies will try to take advantage of these, as Simon is knocked backward when he takes a hit. As players progress further into the game, the enemies will deal greater damage, eventually to the point where Simon will be defeated after taking 4 hits. Players are rewarded with points for killing enemies and clearing a stage. The amount of points gained at the end of a stage depends on how quickly it was completed. Extra lives can be earned through gaining enough points. After beating the game, players return to the first stage while retaining their weapons and score. This time, however, they face stronger enemies. Players often refer to this as a second quest or hard mode. Castlevania is known for drawing inspiration from several old horror movies made roughly in the first half of the 20th century. Enemies and bosses are sometimes directly taken from these movies, like Frankenstein's monster and Dracula, while others are based on horror movie icons like mummies and ghosts. The obvious classic horror atmosphere is further emphasized by displaying the start screen as a movie reel and adding fake movie credits at the end of the game. Some fun facts about Castlevania. The game's release date in North America corresponds to the 90th anniversary of Bram Stoker's novel, Dracula. The 5 bosses of this game, the Giant Bat, Medusa, the Mummy, the Creature, and Death, have been referenced in some of the sequels. Simon's pose on the game's cover appears to be inspired by the Norsemen by Frank Frazetta. In turn, the artwork for Castlevania was taken as inspiration for the second teaser poster for the Castlevania animated series. Which brings us to Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest, the sequel to the first Castlevania game. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, known in Japan as Dracula 2 Noroi no Fuin or Dracula 2 Slow the Curse, is an action-adventure platform game developed by Konami in 1987 for the Famicom Disk System. It was ported to cartridge format in 1988 and released in North America for the Nintendo Entertainment System or the NES. The game features Simon Belmont as the protagonist and takes place in 1698, 7 years after the first game. The plot. After Simon delivered the final coup de grace to the Prince of Darkness, the Count placed a dark curse upon him that would send him to an early grave unless Simon revived him. Moreover, Dracula's minions are once again stirring throughout the land of Transylvania, ravaging throughout the many villages and terrorizing the townsfolk. Simon takes up the legendary whip, the Vampire Killer, once again and travels throughout the land to the towns to liberate the people and to seek help from them as he searches for the Count's body parts, which have been hidden in 5 different manners: Berkeley, Rover, Brams, Bodley, and Laruba throughout the land. Once all the parts of Dracula's body were in place, Simon took them to the ruins of Dracula's castle and burned them. Simon didn't expect, however, for Dracula's ghost, due to the power of the 6th remaining part, Dracula's Fang, which was hidden inside the ruins. Simon fought Dracula again and this time finished him for good, or so the people thought, though Dracula would return in the 18th century. Now the gameplay. Simon's Quest environment differs from the linear castle of the first game, and is instead an open-ended landscape interspersed with towns, cemeteries, manors, and dungeons. The passage of time in game causes day to become night and vice versa. Enemies are stronger at night, zombies invade towns, and the townspeople are nowhere to be seen, as they are hiding in their houses from the monsters. New to the series are several RPG elements such as an inventory and a leveling system which causes Simon's health to increase whenever he collects a specific amount of parts. During the day, townspeople offer hints, although the player must be aware that some of these may be half-truths or outright lies. And merchants sell items such as whip upgrades in exchange of hearts. The amount of time it takes to complete the game also affects how well Simon fares at the ending. Sub-weapons return from Castlevania. Old weapons include the dagger and holy water, while new weapons include the bouncing diamond and laurels of invincibility. Dracula's remains also offer stat benefits when collected, such as an immunity to poison. The game includes 3 different endings, determined by how long it took for the player to complete the game, and how many continues were used. All 3 are variations of the same ending, but with different twists feature, kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure. First, the bad ending. The method, complete the game in 15 days or more. Neither Dracula nor Simon survived the battle. Or the normal ending. The method, complete the game in 8 to 14 days. Simon defeats Dracula but eventually succumbs to the curse anyway. Or the good ending. The method is complete the game in 7 days or less. Simon defeats Dracula and is freed from the curse. Let's move on to the most widely known and most popular game in the franchise series. My favorite and your favorite, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, abbreviated as SOTN, released in Japan as Dracula X, Nocturne in the Moonlight, is an action platforming role-playing video game part of Konami's long-running Castlevania series. It is a direct sequel to Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which was originally released for the Nippon Electric Company PC Engine, TurboGrafx 16, in 1993 in Japan. The game was developed and published by Konami for the PlayStation in 1997. It was re-released the following year for the Sega Saturn, which was exclusive in Japan. In 2007, it was re-released again in America for the Xbox 360's Xbox Live Arcade. The original PlayStation re-released it for download on the PlayStation 3, playable on both that system and the PlayStation Portable, PSP. In 2018, it was included in the Castlevania Requiem Collection exclusive for the PlayStation 4. It was released on March 4th, 2020 for mobile phones, iOS, and Android. Castlevania titles released on mobile platforms, which were simplified versions, were a direct port of the console game. Although not very successful during its first release in North America and Europe, only 60,000 copies sold in each continent. Symphony of the Night has become highly sought after by video game players, collectors, and is widely considered to be one of the best and a milestone of the series. Almost all of the game's successors have emulated its open-ended gameplay. Moving on to the plot. The game's story takes place during the year 1797, 5 years after the events of Rondo of Blood, and begins with Richter Belmont's defeat of Count Dracula, mirroring the end of the former game. However, despite Dracula being defeated, Richter vanishes without a trace. Castlevania rises again 5 years later, and while there are no Belmonts to storm the castle, Alucard, the son of Dracula, awakens from his self-induced sleep and decides to investigate what transpired during his slumber. Meanwhile, Maria Renard, Richter's sister-in-law, enters Castlevania herself to search for the missing Richter. She assists Alucard multiple times throughout the game. There are 4 separate endings to the story. If a certain sequence of events is followed, Richter is revealed to be under the influence of the Dark Priest Shaft. After the latter is defeated, an upside-down version of Castlevania, the Reverse Castle, appears from the heavens. The castle contains another entire series of adventures, crowned by the ultimate face-off between Alucard and his revived father, Dracula himself. Alucard is the main character of play in Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Alucard's name spelled backwards is Dracula, who is Dracula's half-vampire son who is awoken to face his father. Symphony of the Night introduced a more fluid control scheme for its protagonist. Unlike his predecessors, Alucard can dash backwards with a single button and attack with a downward kick while jumping. Alucard can also use magic spells learned through incantation scrolls and activate it with specific button combinations. Some spells damage enemies, such as Hellfire, while others heal Alucard, like Soul Steel and Dark Metamorphosis. As in previous Castlevania titles, Alucard can use a variety of sub-weapons found in various places of the castle, such as the staple, knives, axes, and holy water. Like earlier games, sub-weapons are powered by hearts, which act as an ammunition count global to all sub-weapons, and only one sub-weapon can be equipped at a time. Alucard will learn skills when he discovers certain relics, a feature reused in later titles. Using these relics, Alucard is able to increase the potency of his jumping skills, gain the ability to open magically sealed doors, travel painlessly through water, and can even transform into different animals, as well as an ethereal mist form. Symphony of the Night is the first Castlevania title since Simon's Quest to use RPG-like elements. Alucard can progress in levels after gaining a specific amount of experience points. Every time Alucard levels up, statistics such as attack power, defensive strength, and luck will increase. He can also find special items called life max-ups to increase his maximum hit points, MP max-ups to increase max MP, and heart max-ups to increase the number of hearts he can carry. Alucard is able to restore his health and normal status using various points and foodstuffs found in the castle, as well as special rooms that act as save points. Another RPG element in the game is the option to equip armor, accessories, and weapons for Alucard. Some may merely increase his power, while others make him resistant to certain elemental attacks or immune to specific status effects. Alucard also has a huge variety of one-time use items at his disposal. While some may do damage to one enemy or a small group, others can be used to attack all enemies covering the screen. Alucard will be able to enlist the help of familiars, which include the fairy, demon, ghost, bat, and sword. All familiars have the ability to level up as well, and become increasingly intelligent as their levels increase, making them attack or heal faster. Some may gain new abilities or even new appearances. The graphics and environments of the game were widely praised elements during its time. The visuals in the game's elegant and incredibly detailed look of the castle has been retained in other games developed. Symphony of the Night draws heavily from the Gothic and Renaissance styles of architecture and sculptures. There is a large emphasis on unity with symmetry and elegant flourishes present in places like the transition rooms between areas, with the identical angelic figures facing one another on either side of the top of the arch. The artists spared no expense in details. Slabs of stonework and pillars emulate the texture and intricacies of their ancient, real-life counterparts. The design choices of shape, line, and color. Statues are varied in their poses and designs. Bits of bricks and stone can be seen that are chipped away or incongruous with the general layout, and thus make for interesting contrasts that catch the eye. Symphony of the Night was scored by Michiru Yamane, composer of Castlevania Bloodlines. To most, the game remains in the very top tier in where the series' music is concerned. In addition, the game disc itself contains a single track which is introduced by the English voice actor of Alucard, Robert Belgrave. Related to the game is also comics. Konami magazine, Nocturne in the Moonlight comic, was associated with the game dealing with the aftermath of Lisa's death. Dracula X, Nocturne in the Moonlight artworks comic in an art book that came with the game in Japan when it first came out. The English version of Symphony of the Night makes constant references to J.R.R. Tolkien. and the world that he brought to life, and its items and equipment. The names of Cthulhu and Malachi appear to have also been either mixed up during development or intentionally revered because of H.P. Lovecraft. Due to its revolutionary exploration aspect for the series, Symphony of the Night opted for a more freehand and coherent layout. Thus, objects such as moving platforms and pits, staples of the stage-based games, were removed, and the castle's areas function more similarly to how Metroid game would. Symphony of the Night remains the most influential of the series, with a recognizable soundtrack and Netflix animated series, rated as one of the best series on TV since its debut. Symphony of the Night is the best of the best. I hope that you've been enjoying Screamtober right here on the channel. I'm Carshénah with versefilms Productions, so hit that notification bell as we do a video a day, every day, up until Halloween. We hope to see you at the next one. Take care and have a great scare.